Hello and welcome to a video from filmsbychris.com. That's Chris the K. I'm Chris the K. Today we're going to be talking about compiling more software for my little camera here. We're going to compile a universal plug-and-play application. So what does that mean? On many people's routers, they actually have it set up to where if you have a smart device, lots of times it will do what's called a universal plug-and-play, where you plug it in and it kind of opens up a port so that it can communicate with the outside world. Now, whether this is a secure thing or not, the fact is, if you didn't go and disable it on your router, there's a pretty good chance that it's already enabled. And, you know, that's a good thing or a bad thing, depending on what devices you allow on your network. Because normally, if I wanted to access this camera from outside of my network, I'd have to go into the router settings, open up a port, and port forward to this device, which is fine, something you can do. But with the universal plug-and-play, so UPnP, it allows this device to request the router, hey, I kind of need a port open. Can you open a port for me? And you can tell it, I want to open up such and such port out there to forward to such and such port on the camera. Well, as far as I know, there was no software on this. Now, I'm one of those guys, I have to admit, that I like trying to figure out things on my own before I actually look at documentation. So there may actually already be a feature on this camera, but I did not see it in the web interface, and I went through the executables on the device itself through SSH, and I didn't see anything for this option. But I want to be able to have this device in certain situations open up a port so I can connect to it directly from outside my network. And there's a program that I like on my desktop computers that I use called Mini UPnP. I think it's pretty sure what the name is. Yeah, Mini UPnP. But, you know, there's no package manager or anything on this that I know of. So I have to compile it myself. And in the previous video, I showed how to compile a basic Hello World script. Well, this application actually has a bunch of precompiled binaries for like ARM and a bunch of architectures, but not MIPS. And it uses a make file, which is great. For lots of times you get make and a program, you type in make and it makes it for you. But by default, it didn't make the MIPS executable I needed. So I had to learn a little bit. I'm going to teach you what I learned. Okay, links in the description, everything in the description. I'm using a Debian desktop, so right now we're looking at my Debian desktop. First thing you need to do is install a MIPS compiler. So on a Debian-based system, sudo apt install gcc mipsl-linux-gnu and g++-mipsl-linux.gnu. I already have that installed, so I don't need to do that. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to download the source code. So I'm going to download the source code. There's a link, again, the link in the description of the video. That's the URL. Now I'm going to download it using wget. It only takes a moment. Then I'm going to extract it, and I'm going to move into its directory. Okay, so I'm in that directory. I can list out the files in here, okay? So now we need to set it up, because right now I can type make, and it will compile it for my desktop, but I want to compile it for my MIPS processor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set some variables in my shell, and I got to use export so that sub-processes see this. But CC is going to be our compiler, AR, LD, just, again, links in the description. But once I do that, when I run make, instead of using the system defaults or what's default in the make, it's going to look at these variables. And at this point, I can actually modify the make file to create a static binary for me. But what I'm actually going to do is try to avoid any modification of the make file, or at least a little bit. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to just say make. Okay? It's going to do all that. Didn't take very long. Now, you can see here there's a few different options, and there's one right here. Build UPnPC client -static, and you would think that might be a static build, but it's not. I can say file, I'll run this, and you can see that it's created it for the MIPS processor, but it's still dynamically linked. But what I'm going to do is now I just need to run a gcc command, just like I did previously, but I had to run that make command before because it's got to compile some other things before I run this, otherwise it won't work. So we're going to say the mipsl-linux-gnu-gcc-static -o, the output, and in my notes I overwrite that static one. I'm actually just going to put it in my current directory right here. Actually, I'm going to put it up one directory. And I'm just going to call it UPnPC. I'm going to remove this static. And then I give it some objects there to put into it, and if everything goes right, which it didn't, something went wrong. Let me see something. File. It did compile. That's right. I got that last time as well. That's just a warning. It's not an error like failed. It's just a warning. So now let's see, I am going to come up, present working directory. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over to my device here. I'm going to move into my temp directory like I did in a previous video, and I'm going to say wget, and I'm just, because I compiled it into my web directory, UPnP-C. Boom, I've downloaded it, change mod plus X, UPnP-C, and now I can run that. Boom, perfect. So that's it. We compiled it. It worked. And at this point, you can start using it. I'm not going to go into the in-depth on how to use UPnP-C. There's notes out there. You can look at my notes in the description of the video. But basically, you can write a script that opens and closes ports on your router to redirect them to this camera when you need to. So you can open up the real-time streaming protocol, the RTSP port, which is 554. And you can port forward this. So you would tell it basically, I want outside port to be port 2600, how about that? 2600 down to 554 on the internal. And you would do that because maybe you have more than one camera and you can't open up more than one port on the outside. Plus people are going to look for regular looking ports. But also be aware on, just because you're opening a port and you're contacting this, are you using encryption keys? If not, then everything you do to this camera from the outside world is going to be visible to anybody sniffing the network. Okay? That's it. I hope you learned something. Again, links in the description to the full explanation. And there's a little bit extra on where I actually would modify the makefile, but I found that I didn't need to do that. Basically, I added the static command into a line somewhere in there. I tried editing some variables. That didn't work right, so I just put it in line there. And then I realized I didn't need to do that. After running the make command, I could just run my command to create a static binary. And that's it. I thank you for watching. Again, check out the Thingino website and their Discord, and there's just so much information there, so many devices supported, and hopefully more devices as time goes on. Filmsbychris.com, Chris with the K, links in the description. I hope that you have a great day.